Golf Central. Brought to you by Titleist.
On Tuesday, Donald Trump was elected the 45th President of the United States of America. What does that mean for his golf properties moving forward, especially if you consider 3 major championships will be decided on his golf courses in the coming years? Hi there, thanks for teaming up with us here on Golf Central. I'm Todd Lewis. We will get more in depth regarding President-elect Donald Trump and his properties a little later, but we begin in Mexico, where just outside of Cancun, several prominent PGA Tour players will compete in the OHL Classic at Mayakoba for the very first time. Our George Savaricas is in Mexico, and he has more on these veteran stars.
Well, there are a lot of new faces in the field this week. We're not just talking recent Web.com tour grads. There's a past European Ryder Cup standout, former world #1, the 03 U.S. Open champ, and a 4-time major winner in Ernie Els, Jim Furyk, Luke Donald, and Ian Poulter. The one thing they all have in common, they're making their debut in the OHL Classic at Mayakoba.
Well, I wanted to play a couple events in the fall. You know, you feel like if you don't play some, you're going to get left behind a little bit starting next year. So I heard good things about this course. You know, it's kind of a shortish, tight golf course. You know, somewhat of a good golf course, hopefully, for the way I play the game.
I've always heard guys talk about it positively. They talked a lot about the resorts, the 3 hotels, bringing their families. And really enjoying their stay here. And then what I heard about the golf course was it was somewhat tight, had to drive the ball well. I didn't know how long or short it was, but I looked at a list of winners, and you go back in time, it's guys that maybe not necessarily always hit the ball that far, but they hit the ball very accurately.
I would normally be playing the race to Dubai. This year's a strange situation with having a medical exemption, so obviously I'm not in the race to Dubai because of that, and I'm not going to be sitting at home on a sofa when I know there's a good golf course to play. It's a good resort. I've seen obviously the coverage in the past, GMAC winning last year, so it's nice to come and play.
Well, I've been watching it on television the last couple of years, and you know, there's so many great events in the fall series now that you have to come play here. Last week was great in Vegas, and then this week's totally different environment, and the golf course is really special, so it's nice to be here.
And the defending champ, Graham McDowell, his lone victory last season on the PGA Tour came in the OHL Classic at Mayakoba. That one win, more than what Ernie Els, Luke Donald, Ian Poulter, and Jim Furyk had combined last season on the PGA Tour. So those guys hoping this week in Playa del Carmen will spark them to a quick start this season.
George, thank you very much. The golf course El Camaleon, as we welcome in our Trip Eisenhower. You got to be accurate. You don't have to be a power player.
Yep.
Our very first winner was Fred Funk. Graham McDowell is the last winner, and they're not power players. But you have to do what well on this golf course to succeed?
Normally, there's a par 5 recipe to winning the golf tournaments. That's not the case here. It's the par 3s. And it's a wonderful set of par 3s, and by playing them well, I mean, you've got to take advantage of them because they're very easy holes. This hole's the second shortest par 3 on the PGA Tour at 116 yards. Its only defense is the wind, and you can see the soft conditions. You give the best players in the world soft conditions and a wedge in their hand, they're going to make a lot of birdies. In fact, that was the easiest par 3 on the entire PGA Tour last year. Then the 8th hole, 151 yards. Again, pay attention to the ball not releasing. The Paspalum greens are typically soft this time of year. They get a lot of rain, so the soft conditions yield a ton of birdies. And the 10th hole, Harris English. Well, he took apart the par 3s several years ago, in fact, leading the field in his way to victory several years ago. The 10th hole, 200 yards, is the longest one. Now, this is my favorite hole, Todd. It's the 15th hole, 155 yards, and it goes along the ocean there. You can see to the right, there's typically a ton of wind coming into and out of the right. That's the trade winds, and that is a huge defense for this hole. And the other reason why I like it is with that trade wind, this is the behind the green, it pushes the ball towards where the danger area is. Of course, the ocean's to the right. You don't want to go there, but if you choose to miss to the left in those tight hole locations along that left-hand side, well, the ball will release down and keep running away from the hole, and in fact, you'll have such a tough pitch that a lot of times you'll see guys use hybrids and putt from down there. That's probably the toughest par 3 at El Chameleon, but again, the par threes are the success. Graham McDowell was second in his win. Charlie Hoffman was 12th, and Harris English was absolutely, as I said, the best on the par threes when he won in 2013.
And the distances on these par threes are really nice. You got a short par three, and then you got a medium length par three, and then a fairly long par three at just over 200 yards. So you have to have your distances down too, right?
Yeah, the iron game needs to be sharp, but again, it's not a power player's golf course by any stretch of the imagination.
Should be a lot of fun, and of course we'll have it right here on Golf Channel. Now the PGA Tour is near Cancun for the OHL Classic at Mayakoba. Graham McDowell is your defending champion. The LPGA Tour is also in Mexico for the Lorena Ochoa Invitational. This is the next to last event on the LPGA Tour schedule. Inbee Park, the defending champion, she will not play as she continues to nurse that injured left thumb. Lorena Ochoa was recently named to the World Golf Hall of Fame. She will be inducted next year during the President's Cup in New York City. Although she no longer competes, the classy Ochoa is working this week as host at the LPGA Tour stop. Our Chantel McCabe is in Mexico City, and she has more.
Well, Lorena Ochoa was born and raised in Guadalajara, Mexico, where she had a very big dream to become the best golfer in the world. Her success started early, and she built one of the most admirable careers in all of ladies golf. Through her many accolades and accomplishments, some of them include 27 LPGA Tour wins, 2 major championship titles, and 158 consecutive weeks as the world's #1 ranked golfer. Now a member of the World Golf Hall of Fame. Today she played in the Pro-Am at an event she created and paused for a moment to reflect.
It's very difficult for me to express the meaning. You know, it's such a special time for me in my career. It's been great to just, remember all of the tournaments that we played, the traveling together, winning tournaments, losing, good times. I feel really like this is just completes, the circle of my career, and it's great to be able to share this with my family, my friends, my team, so I'm enjoying this moment a lot.
I asked Lorena Ochoa, through all of the congratulatory emails, calls, and texts, what is the most memorable and valuable one she received? She said she was sent a letter by her former longtime caddy, David Brucker, who sent her a long list of memories and jokes that the two shared when she was on tour. Now Lorena focuses on her foundation, growing the game of golf in Mexico. One of the LPGA Tour's rising stars, Gabby Lopez, was born here in Mexico City, and she shared her appreciation for all that Lorena's done.
She did what it seemed impossible, becoming #1 in the world is what everyone dreams of. And just looking at her, and she opened the doors in professional golf here in Mexico. And I'm very, very grateful that she's been very close to me this rookie year. It's been really nice to have her text me and email me. I'm very blessed to be at my home course, playing for my country, playing at my home course. It's just very, very nice.
Much of Gabby's extended family is from Mexico City, so she's expecting a large crowd throughout the tournament, and they are so excited to see her play. They're going to be dressing up in the Mexican flag colors on Sunday. And one more note from here in Mexico City, the LPGA Tour announced today that the 2021 Solheim Cup will be held in Inverness in Toledo, Ohio. Todd?
Chantel, thank you. And the LPGA Rolex Player of the Year will be decided next week when the top 2 players in the world return in the LPGA season finale, the CME Group Tour Championship. Ariya Jutanugarn is the leader with 261 points on the strength of 5 wins. World #1 Lydia Ko is 14 points behind, which means she needs to win for any chance to topple Ariya. And while the race for Player of the Year is still up for grabs, In-Ji Chun has already earned enough points to lock up the Louise Suggs Rolex Rookie of the Year award. Chun not only won the season's final major of the season, the Evian Championship, she is also second on the tour in scoring average, only behind Lydia Ko. And we take a look at the Louise Suggs Rolex Rookie of the Year standings, and there you see Chun with a substantial lead over Gabby Lopez, who you just heard from. Stay with us here on Golf Central. Our new president, Donald Trump, has golf properties all across the globe. How will they now be affected? Our Jeff Shackelford will join us to discuss. Plus, Henrik Stenson has an opportunity to wrap up the European Tour's race to Dubai this weekend. We will give you the scenarios, and Tripp is back to discuss his chances. Stay with us.
Golf Central is brought to you by
The Titleist Pro V1 and Pro V1X make a difference in your game. Shipsticks, the largest golf bag shipping company in the world, simplifying the way you travel.